Hello friends, welcome back to my channel Mukesh English. Friends, your exams are approaching, so I thought that let's make a very brief video about the last moment revision for the examination. So you're approaching to the examination. Dear first semester B.Sc General English, Bangalore University students, this video you will get a last moment revision that's going to help you to recall whatever you have learned so far, and I'm not going to discuss in depth. I'll just discuss very briefly of all the lessons summary and which what questions, how the questions will appear in the grammar, etc. So that's going to help you to prepare at the last moment of your study. So let's begin it. 80 marks question paper weightage, 3 hours duration, first semester BSc General English, Bangalore University. So here the section 1, that's a section A, which consists the prose and poetry. That is for 50 marks. In this section A, you have here how many lessons? You have 8 lessons, and the question paper will be prepared like this: 2 marks 5 questions, and 5 marks 4 questions. There's an error here: 5 marks 4 questions, 10 marks 2 questions. So which are the lessons do we have in your first semester BSc? You have lessons like which is Loaves, Moschus by a song for Saint Cecilia's Day. What is science? The remains of the feast. Who can be called a great man? The code within, the forbidden knot, and how far is the river? So these are the lessons you have here. So now, as far as the revision is concerned, I will give you very brief summary of each and every chapter so that you can easily recall. If you want to go in depth, if you want to study in depth, I suggest you to watch my videos on summary, 2 marks questions, and the model question paper. Everything is done. Just have a look in description or the playlist. You'll get all the videos links at one place. Now, the lesson number 1, which is Loaves, written by O. Henry. So it's a very short story, a very witty story with an unexpected ending. Miss Martha Misham is a kind, middle-aged woman who has a small bakery. She enjoys observing her customers and tries to help them in small ways. So one of her regular customers is a very quiet older man who always buys stale loaves of bread. So Miss Martha thinks he must be poor because he buys a stale bread, and she imagines he's an artist who uses the bread to stretch his limited money. Okay. One day, Miss Martha decides to help him, and she adds here, she put extra butter. She put some butter to the stale loaves which he buys, thinking it will make his meals more better, more tasty. So she feels happy and proud of her this kind of kind gesture. So what happens? The next day, the man angrily returns to the bakery, and he reveals that he's not an artist, but a draftsman who uses the stale bread to clean his blueprint. But the butter which he has applied there, because of the butter, his work has been ruined, which has caused him a great trouble. Miss Martha feels so embarrassed and regretful. So this story ends with her realizing that her good intentions had backfired. So what's the moral? Sometimes assumptions and uninvited help can cause more harm than the good. So this is about the story which is Loaves. Story number 2, Moschiferus, a song for Cecilia by A.D. Hope. So it's a poem, and this poem describes how hunters kill the rare musk deer in the forest of Assam and Tibet to get the musk pods, which is used to make perfumes. The hunters play beautiful flute music to attract the deer out of hiding, enchanting them with the sound. So when the deer come closer, the hunters shoot them with the arrows. Thousands of these tiny deer are killed each year, leaving their bodies to rot after taking the musk pods. The poet points out that the deer are on the verge of extinction because of human greed or luxury. He dedicates this sad story to I'm sorry, Saint Cecilia, the patron saint of music, as a reflection on the power and the consequences of music. Lesson number 3, what is science? By George Orwell. It's an essay. George Orwell in this essay talks about what science exactly means and how people misunderstand it. Many people think science is just about facts and the experiments in the labs, like physics or the chemistry. But real science is a way of thinking carefully and logically about problems. So George Orwell warns that being a scientist doesn't make someone smarter about everything, like politics or the morals. For example, some scientists supported harmful governments, like the Nazis. Knowing science does not guarantee that good decisions outside of science. Then Orwell says education should focus on teaching people how to think critically, not just memorizing the facts. Teaching only science subjects can make people narrow minded. Scientists themselves should also learn things like history, literature, and art to understand the world better. George Orwell ends by saying that scientists who also knew history and culture often made better choices, like refusing to work on dangerous projects such as the atomic bomb. So, this shows how important it is to combine science with the other knowledge. Lesson number 4, The Remains of the Feast by Githa Hariharan. This is a story about Ratna, a very young woman who is preparing for medical examination school, and her great grandmother Rukmani, who is 90-year-old widow. Rukmani lived a long traditional life, but she showed a very surprising sense of humor and defiance in her last age, in her old age. As Rukmani became seriously ill with cancer, she started asking for foods which were against her strict Brahmin diet like cake, samosas, Coca Cola. Ratna secretly brought her these treats, and Rukmani enjoyed them like a child experiencing freedom for the first time. This brought them closer even as her condition worsened. Got worse, her health condition got worse. Rukmani eventually passed away in a nursing home, but her last days were filled with her bold request for forbidden foods. She was keep on asking that I want this, I want that. After death, Ratna reflects on a great grandmother's small act of rebellion and clears out her belongings, replacing them with her medical books. This symbolizes moving from the old traditions to a modern way of thinking. The story shows the themes of breaking rules, cherishing small joys, and the bond between different generations. Lesson number 5, Who Can Be Called a Great Man? A speech by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, and quite tough one. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar explores the qualities that define a great man, comparing different perspectives. Military leaders like Alexander and Napoleon are called uh, are called great because of their conquest and influence. However, one minute. However, their impact on society is usually short-lived, very temporary. Philosophers and thinkers like Carlyle, Rosebery, they suggest some other qualities. Carlyle emphasizes sincerity, but he clarifies it must be genuine, not shallow, not very boastful. Rosebery, discussing Napoleon, highlights some extraordinary intellect, energy, and genius. Philosophers suggest great men are those who transform society and guide it towards progress, acting as forces for the social regeneration. Dr. Ambedkar believes sincerity and intellect are essential for greatness but not sufficient. While these qualities can make someone eminent, a truly great man must also have a deep commitment to a social purpose. He must work to cleanse and uplift society, distinguishing himself from a merely notable individuals. So this is about this lesson and who can be called a great man. I've done a summary also. You can watch my video on summary and the 2 marks questions. Lesson number 6. The Cold Within, James Patrick Kinney, written by. The poem Cold Within tells us the story about 6 people who are trapped in some extreme cold, and each one of them is holding a stick of wood that could keep their shared fire alive. However, their prejudice, their selfishness, and hatred prevent them from contributing. Right? It's too cold. but if they contribute to the fire, definitely it will help them. So each person has some bias. One man who is holding the stick, who does not share his stick because another person is black. The next person refuses to help someone because the next person is from different religion. A poor man won't warm the wealthy person. The rich man clings to his wealth. He's not willing to help the poor. A black man who is driven by resentment withholds his stick to spite the white man, to take the revenge. The last man only gives if he gets some benefits, otherwise, he won't give. So, these are the reservations they have and they're not sharing. So, in the end, what happened? They all die, not from the physical cold, but from the cold within their hatred, prejudice, and greed. So, the poem highlights the destructive power of selfishness, prejudice, teaching that humanity's true downfall is the inability to rise above the internal biases and work together. Seventh lesson, the forbidden note. It's a Baltic folktale. So what happens? There's a small village, the small fishing village, and people are starving because they had not caught enough fish for the year. A group of fishermen decided to ask old men called Karel, a retired fisherman, to help. Karel, who was said to know the sea queen, he gave them a kerchief with three magical notes. And he said that, take this kerchief, there are three notes in this kerchief. He gave them advice. He said that the first note will bring a strong wind to sail, to push your ship. The second note will fill the nets with the fish. The third note should not be untied. No matter what, whatever happens, don't open this third note. Carl also wants them to take only one catch the fish only one time and be happy with whatever you receive. The fishermen went to sea, and they untied the first knot, which brought a good wind to their boat. They untied the second knot, and the nets became so full with the fish. They caught plenty, but some fishermen they wanted more, and they ignored Carl's advice and they cast their nets once again, and this time they got not even single fish. Hoping for better luck, they untied even the third knot also. This caused a fierce storm. Their boat wouldn't move. They were stranded at the sea with only one strange fish. There were only one strange fish in the net, and the fish was a tailless pike. The storm took them to a rocky island where they met an old man. He told them they had entered the sea queen's special fishing grounds, where fish are clever and they are rarely caught. He scolded them for the greed and for breaking Karel's rules. So that's the summary. Finally, they reach, after he helps them to reach to their home. How Far is the River? The last story by Ruskin Bond. The story How Far is the River by Ruskin Bond is about a boy who wants to see a river he has never seen before. A big mountain stands between his home and the river, but he decides to go there when his parents are away so that he can come back in time. The boy takes some bread and starts walking. The path is steep and winding. On the other way, he meets a woodcutter, a girl, and a boy with goats. Each person tells him different distance to the river. He shares his lunch as a bread with the god boy. They walk together for some time, and after the boy takes another path, the narrator feels tired and lonely. Even though he's scared, but he wants or scared and wants to stop, but he keeps walking. The forest becomes quiet and empty. Finally, he hears the sound of water. Happy and excited, he runs and he sees the river. He jumps into the cold water and he feeling proud and joyful. And this is how he finds the river. The story shows how staying determined can help you reach your goals and enjoy new experiences. So, dear first semester B.Sc students, this is how I try to give you the brief summary of all the 8 lessons. For detailed summary, 2 marks questions, solved model question papers, you can see all those videos links in the description or in the playlist. Now we are moving to the section B, that is grammar, that stands for 30 marks. Let us see how the questions will appear. So what is in the grammar part? Reading comprehension, data interpretation, listening versus hearing, giving instructions, giving directions, articles, prepositions, tense. This is a grammar portion. So under grammar, the first question will be here, reading comprehension. You have to read the passage. You need to answer 5 questions. Just take one word answer, one line answer. Don't write paragraphs together. You won't get the marks. So 5 questions, each for 1 mark. Next, data interpretation. You need to interpret a graph, pie chart, bar diagram. In your own words, you need to interpret the data. For example, this is how I interpreted this this bar graph. You can pause the video and you can go through it. I've done a very special video on data interpretation. You can watch the video. You'll get more examples and the link is in the description box. Next, listening skill. Here you will be having 5 questions, each for 1 mark. How the questions will be asked, like meaning of listening, listening versus hearing, difference between listening, hearing, types of listening, definition of each type of listening, barriers to listening, active listening, passive listening. So a very special videos done on listening skill. The link is in the description box. Listening skills. If you watch that video, I bet you will get 5 out of 5. Next question you will have here, giving instructions. You need to give instructions uh, to operate something. For example, there's a question how to install an app. So you need to give an instructions like this. So this is for 3 marks. Question may appear how to open a bank account, how to prepare Maggie, etc. The questions will come like this. Just give 5 10 instructions, and this is for 3 marks. Next, giving directions based on a route map. A route map will be given. You need to give directions. Go straight, take left. You'll find so and so towards the left. Follow your nose. Take right turn. That's for 3 marks. Giving directions. Next, you have here articles. Okay, articles. How the questions will appear. Fill up the blanks with an appropriate articles. That's for 3 marks. Then next questions. Prepositional error. A sentence will be given. In the sentence, there will be 3 questions. In 3 questions, there will be some prepositional errors. Wrong prepositions will be given. You need to replace them with the correct prepositions. 3 questions. For example, you can see here, she's afraid from. So what's the right one? Afraid of. They live at the countryside. In the countryside. He's looking forward for his vacation. He's looking forward to his vacation. So like this, you'll be having error. You need to rewrite the sentence with the correct preposition. That's for 3 marks. Then correct forms of the tenses. So tenses, you need to read here. You need to fill up the blanks with the given option, right? So you need to read it properly. Then only you will come to know which tense is here. Example is here from your question model question paper. So you can watch my videos on tenses also. You'll get more idea how to opt the correct tense. There's for tenses for 3 marks. Then this is how I have done the recapitulation. So just have a recapitulation here, 2 marks, 5 questions, 5 marks, 4 questions, 10 marks, 2 questions from your textbook. I mean to say from your lessons. From grammar, reading passage, 5 marks, chart, pie graph, pie chart, bar diagram, interpretation, 5 marks, listening skill, 5 marks, giving instruction, 3 marks, giving directions, 3 marks, articles, 3 marks, preposition, 3 marks, and tenses, 3 marks. So dear first semester BSc students, this is how I have tried my best to give you last moment preparation for the examination. So hope this video will help you to recall whatever you have studied, and still you have time. You can go through my videos. You can go through summary, 2 marks questions, model question paper discussion. That's going to help you a lot in the examination. Write in the comment box once your examination get over. Get back to me and write in the comment box that how my videos really helped you a lot. If you're not yet subscribed my channel, please do subscribe. It's a long journey to go. You still have 3 semesters to finish. So thank you so much. I wish you very good luck for the examination. Wish you good luck.